Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more rifle testing. And today, we've got some more 22 ammo out here to test. It's been a good while since we've done any of this on the channel, so I'm definitely excited to test it and see what kind of results we can get out of these particular rounds today as well. Since they are a little bit towards the cheaper end for 22 stuff that you can get off the shelf, maybe they might be decent, maybe they might be junk, I don't know. But as for the ammunition we've got out here today, I brought out some of the Herter's 22 ammo. They are a 40 grain, copper plated, lead hollow point, moving about 1280 feet per second. Now, if you don't know, Herter's is made by Winchester, so it would not surprise me in the slightest if these are just a rebranded Winchester 22 shell, but we're going to see how well they do anyway. Now, as for the setup we're going to be running them through today, I brought back out this old guy. This is my Marlin Glenfield Model 25, obviously chambered in 22. Up on top here is just an old school, very basic Bushnell sharpshooter scope. It's a 3-9 by 32. Definitely nothing impressive, but it does the job for what this setup is actually good for, which brings us to kind of how we're going to test these today. With that Marlin Glenfield 25, I've shot thousands of rounds through it, and I kind of know that it's pretty much a 50 to 60 yard rifle. Once you get past that, especially once you hit that 75 yard range, it just can't hold the groups or the accuracy anywhere near a more modern style rifle. So really, it's a 50 yard type of groundhog gun. So as for today's test, I'll have the target set up at 50 yards and we'll shoot a few groups and see what kind of results we get. And if we're talking, same hole type of groups at 50 yards, then we might reach it out to 100 just to see what it can do. But I will also have the chronograph so we can get our velocity out of them as well. But let's get you guys a view of this target and start shooting a couple groups here and just see what it can do at 50. And if we can actually reach out to 100, we'll see what it can do there. But let's head over here and shoot a few groups and see what we can actually get. Okay, let's take a quick peek through our chronograph numbers here real quick and see what we got. The boss claim was 1280, and as you can see, that last shot did give us 1280. So we were definitely bouncing right around their claim, that's for sure. So that's definitely a good thing. So for a high, we had 1347. For a low, we had 1267. That gave us an average right at 1300, so 20 feet per second above the boss claim, with an extreme spread of 80 and a standard deviation of 18. So definitely looking pretty good as far as our velocity numbers go, but how does it look on the actual target? Let's head over here and measure some things and see what we got. Okay, so let's measure some groups here and see what we actually got. The 4 outside corner groups up there, there, and there were all right at 50 yards. And this middle group right here was at right about 95 yards. I couldn't quite get 100 yards out of today's bench placement, but 95 yards is plenty good enough. Ignore that one big hole there. That's from a shotgun test last week, and I need to get a new target. Either way, we definitely saw some pretty interesting results. The first 2 groups up there on the top left and top right were kind of not looking amazing, to be honest with you. And then we shot that third group down on the bottom left, which I kind of thought was going to be my last group based on how things were going so far. But after seeing that, I figured we'll take a fourth group, which is the bottom right. So we got some more good results, and I figured we'll step it out to 95 is what I could get and just see what would happen. But let's measure these groups and see what we got. We'll start with that top left one and work our way through. Okay, that first group gave us 1.92. The second group gave us 1.38. That third group down in the bottom right gave us 0.76, so we definitely made a big jump to that group there. And that fourth group down in the bottom right gave us 0.59. So we got kind of better and better as we went through there, which is definitely pretty surprising to see, to be honest with you. So between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch at 50 yards, plenty good enough for anything you would ever need it for. But let's measure that center group, which is our 95-ish yard group, because that one did, on one hand, surprisingly decent with those 4 upper shots, and then we had 1 flyer down low, definitely. But let's measure it and see what we got. Okay, so the overall group gave us 2.99 inches. That is from that bullet hole there all the way to that bottom one. Now this upper part of the group here was right at a 1.4 inch group. So although definitely not precision, it's definitely way better than what I had previously seen out at the 100-ish yard range with that rifle. So definitely some pretty interesting results here, and I don't know exactly why we got better and better as we went on. Sure, the barrel did heat up a little bit, but it's 22 and I did take a break between groups, so I don't know. It wasn't a fresh, clean bore either. It did have a handful of rounds through it previously, so I don't know. Definitely some pretty interesting results here, and I definitely wouldn't call them junk, but I think we need to do some more testing, maybe through some other 22s and see how consistent they are, because they definitely seem to have potential to get some pretty good groups out of them, but I don't know if they're necessarily consistent enough to hold that tight of a group or not. Alright, y'all, well, what did you think about those results there? Definitely pretty mixed, but pretty interesting. I mean, we saw some really good, 1/2-inch size groups, and then we saw some not so impressive groups at the same time. So is it just this particular rifle likes having a little bit of heat in the barrel? Maybe. Is it these rounds being a little bit inconsistent, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't? They are a very cheap round for a 22, so I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Is that about what you expected? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the Herter's 22 stuff? And if so, what kind of results have you gotten out of them? And why do you kind of think we saw the up and down groups like we did there? How we got better and better and better as we started to shoot more shots? Let me know all that down below. But as for this test, definitely not terrible ammunition, it doesn't seem, but I think we still need more testing to see how consistent it actually is. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description down below if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.